Hey friend, hope you're having a great day. I wanted to talk about something with you that's maybe a little bit of a darker subject, but I think it's one that needs to be talked about, and that's depression. I think a lot of people go through depression without realizing it, and to be honest with you, I've actually suffered from not clinical depression because I've never been diagnosed, but just extreme sadness and extreme depressive thoughts for as long as I can remember. Now, I've never been suicidal, so I've never gotten that bad, mostly because I tell myself suicide is a long-term solution to a short-term problem, and I feel very bad for people who fall victim to that. I think it's a very sad thing. I actually had my great-grandfather actually shot himself in the head during the Great Depression because he was super depressed. He just didn't feel like he could feed his family, and he did suffer from heat stroke before that, so he wasn't always right in the head. But mental illness actually runs on both sides of my family, and I think it's something that until we actually discuss, and I think actually in the past 5-10 years, we've actually really started talking about mental illness, and I'm not going to say I have a mental illness, but I want to reach out to other people who might have something that's going on similar to what I'm having. A little backstory, like I said, all my life I've suffered with very sad thoughts and bad thoughts and just, bad things. And honestly, this may be silly, but I think my entire generation got really screwed up because of 9/11, especially us watching it in 3rd grade in television, watching the towers fall. I think that really screwed up a lot of us, and I just don't think a lot of us have recovered since then. And I know that sounds silly, but I feel like my generation, the younger kids who experienced 9/11 that young and really didn't have an understanding of the world, got really scared afterwards. And so I want to say that's the baseline of my age group. I'm not saying that 9/11 was the cause of my depression and symptoms and things like that. Funny story though, I actually have family in New York, not New York City, but actually New York State. But as a kid, I thought my family had died in 9/11 because they were talking about planes hitting New York. I was not old enough, or maybe smart enough to understand that the planes didn't hit the entire state, just the Empire State Building, not the Empire State Building, the Twin Towers, excuse me. But yeah, so throughout my entire life, I've suffered from some kind of anxiety, depression, things like that. And I have a very addictive personality. I wouldn't say that I'm addicted to anything right now, but I'm very addicted to things. For example, for most of my life, I'm very into video games. I played video games ever since I was younger. My mother actually played the Sega Genesis with me. We would play the Aladdin game, which is amazing by the way, and Tetris and things like that, and she introduced me to that, and I just really enjoyed playing video games, and I would do it overly too much, sometimes, neglecting eating, neglecting sleeping, staying up two days in a row just to play this one video game when I was like, 14 or 12 or however, some really bad habits. And I think I did it because, now there's a lot of reasons, but I think it was because I was trying to find something that satisfied me for a long time. I think that may come off as weird, but essentially the idea that I will run to things, be it video games or, funny enough, Warhammer, to find some kind of enjoyment in, to try to hide the pain that's inside of me. And I don't want to state that I have like a large amount of pain. It's just a subtle sadness every so often. Sometimes it gets really, really bad. But I kind of want to talk about something that happened today that was a cause of, like, the main story. Essentially, something in my life has happened that has really screwed me up. It's not going to be a long-term thing, but I won't get into detail, but it's family related. That has resulted in me being alone for a little while. And it's kind of hard to deal with. And for some reason, I just got the hair up my butt to look up, basically I was on YouTube and I fell down a rabbit hole of pipe tobacco smoking. And for some reason I became fixated on it, saying to myself, you know what, I need to do this, I want to try it, it's going to be great, it's going to fix everything that's wrong with me. It's going to give me an outlet to express myself. All these crazy things that I was telling myself to try to convince myself that I needed to start pipe smoking to fix myself. And so on Amazon, I went and I bought this pipe. It's actually a very nice pipe. I bought this pipe that came with a kit. It actually came with this nice little leather bag. It's a very nice check tool, if you know what pipe smoking is, and some other goodies. And actually, it wasn't that bad of a price. It was, I think it was like $28 for the whole set. It's some kind of Chinese pipe. It's actually really, really nice. Kind of like it. But for some reason, I convinced myself, and I'm not a smoker. I've had problems with, not problems with alcohol, but you know, I've engaged or indulged myself in alcohol a lot. Not anymore. I got over that. But essentially, I became addicted, quote unquote, same way I became addicted to video games, to alcohol. I was using that to kind of like hide some sadness, hide some pressure, just kind of loosen up. And yeah, so I bought this pipe, and then for some reason, I went and I bought some pipe tobacco. And I tried it, and the thing is, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, oh, here's my kitty cat, he's on my lap, so. I really enjoyed smoking the pipe tobacco. To the point that I ended up smoking, actually I had some trouble getting this going, long story short. No, you can't be on there, buddy. I actually had trouble getting my first bowl, which is apparently this is what that's called, lit and stayed lit. I actually went to like a specialty tobacco shop and bought like a specialty blend. It was a little wet, but this morning I got this in the mail, and I tried to smoke the one bowl, and it didn't work. And for some reason, I felt the need that I had to immediately go find some tobacco to smoke in this. Now, understand, you can't blame it on nicotine addiction or something like that, because I hadn't successfully smoked. But I had convinced myself in my mind that if I could smoke, I could successfully get rid of my anxiety and depression, things like that. You know. But yeah, so I went to a discount tobacco store, and I got this menthol and star tobacco. And this ain't a review or anything like that. It was actually $4 for this entire bag. I think it was like, $4.99 after tax. So not terrible. Actually, like $5 is higher tax. But essentially, I smoked my first bowl of tobacco, and I really enjoyed it. The thing is, I don't think I enjoyed the tobacco. I think I just enjoyed the idea of thinking that I had found what was going to make me better, quote unquote. Okay. So I smoke my first bowl. I get it all packed up, and I go sit outside, and you know, I light it. I have the whole little thing. It goes really well. It's kind of tasty. It smells pretty bad. Honestly, I'm kind of glad that I didn't get like a vanilla or something like that. That will go into my story later. But I ended up getting the menthol, so it was kind of good. But I was like, oh, I really enjoyed my first bowl. Might as well do a second, you know? Not knowing that doing a second bowl right after without eating, essentially I smoked 2 pipefuls of tobacco within like 30 minutes, which kind of a lot, especially if you're a non-smoker, and I got super, super sick, right? I ended up getting very lightheaded, dizzy. The thing is, when I first smoked the tobacco, when the nicotine hit me, I felt so alert. Like, I was surprised. I was really sleepy before, but as soon as I hit that nicotine, it just went to my brain, and it was like, wow, this is the high I've been, you know, needing. I've never done drugs or anything like that, but you know, in my mind, this was the high that was going to make me better. And luckily enough, I smoked way too much at my first time, and I got really, really sick. I didn't throw up or anything, but I got dizzy. The room started spinning. I ended up getting something to eat, and I just felt awful for like 2 hours because of the nicotine sickness. And I realized to myself, why did I feel so obsessed and had the need to smoke tobacco? Why? Was it something that and then I realized this is why I'm making the video, because I want to express that sometimes you're going to find yourself in dark holes, and you're going to think that this one thing is going to help you. I just want to warn you against that, okay? Now, I'm not saying tobacco is, the scourge of the devil or anything. As a culture, we have crusaded against it. I'm not saying it's healthy. Obviously, it can cause cancer, nicotine addiction, things like that. So yeah, smoking is bad for you, kids. Do not smoke. But as an adult, I figured, okay, it would be fine. But I realized that it was just another way for me to try to deal with my sadness and trying to create a ego for myself or something that was like, oh, I am a sophisticated pipe smoker. Ugh. Got some tar still in it. Yeah, that was nasty. So yeah, it's a disgusting habit. Now, I'm not saying anything wrong by anybody who smokes. I had my grandmother. Most of my family members smoked. That's just what people did. Luckily, I never grew up doing it, and the thing is, I'm never gonna smoke again. Right? I'm glad that I had this experience with this pipe. I'm gonna keep this pipe because it's actually a very nice looking pipe, and it looks sophisticated. But smoking tobacco is it's not for me. Now I'm glad I didn't get like a vanilla, because maybe I would have stuck with that, but just the taste of it and like the bitterness on your tongue, not for me. Now, I've watched thousands of YouTube. What's funny is I stayed up last night watching maybe 100 YouTube videos about pipe smoking, reviews of tobacco and things like that. And that's how I convinced myself that I needed to do this. Now, I'm not running a crusade on YouTube or things like that. These people are obviously grown adults that are dedicated to, smoking this tobacco responsibly and things like that. So it wasn't like, oh, I got tricked into smoking tobacco. I went and physically sought this out and tried it. But it just wasn't for me. So, long story short, I just want to reach out to you, watching friend, and tell you that, things are going to get better. You may be stuck in a place where you think that, nothing you can do, nothing is going to get better. But take it a test from my life. I've seen a lot of serious shit, and I've always been able to get out the other end. Just like Andy Dufresne, I crawled through shit, I got free on the other side. I think you will too, okay? So the big thing is, if you are feeling suicidal, reach out to somebody. I care about you. I don't know who you are, but if you feel that way, I care deeply about you, and I hope you seek the help you get, or you need, okay? I guess I'm gonna finish off though. So instead of smoking tobacco and, drinking alcohol, I'm going to start playing video games again. I lost interest in video games maybe 6 months ago. I played them off and on, WoW and things like that, but I just didn't lose it. I lost interest. I'm gonna get back into making this chainmail. I have a whole kit of it there with like 1,000 or maybe like 10,000 rings. I can make a whole suit of chainmail. I actually have a bunch of these Warhammer models. This is for Shadespire. This is the Iron Jaws, the Iron Jaws boys. And I have a bunch of Iron Jaws down there. So I'm actually going to do it. The big thing is, I want you to find success in your life and happiness. I believe deep in my heart that you are a very important person, that you are worth it, okay? I want you to know that. Because I wish somebody had told me that. And if even just one person sees this video and hears my message of, I love you, no matter what, okay? I hope you hear that. Because you are worth it. You are important, okay? It doesn't matter if anybody else thinks that. I know that. You are a very important person, and I love you, okay? From one human to another, I hope you have a wonderful day, okay? If you have any thoughts about what I've said, any thoughts about tobacco, mental illness, depression, feel free to let me know in the comments. I will respond to anything that I receive. I was going to say subscribe if you want. I'm going to do more content not related to this when we get back in the content game. This is actually a face reveal, funny enough. I'm a hairy white man. You probably hear by my voice. But yeah, I just want you to know that you're loved, and I hope you have a wonderful day. You know, I just realized my family are going to know that I tried tobacco. I apologize. Just so you know that I am serious about not smoking again. Just remember, you're very special, you're very important, and I love you. You keep on keeping on. You have a wonderful day.